What's up, beautiful people? This is Ryan from Leveling Up at Life. Today, we're going to be making silicone molds to go with our circular molds. In our last video, we made some concrete parts that were circular out of this mold right here, which we got from Target. Now, I need something that complements this to the right size, that's square, and we're not going to be able to find that at Target. If you haven't seen that video yet, go ahead and watch that as well, because this is going to be part 2 to that video. So the first step in this is just gathering the materials and making the actual model a square piece that looks somewhat like this around the same dimensions. So let's get started. Here's all the materials that you need for this project. A detailed list is in the description box below. The very first step in making any kind of mold is to have a model set up. Models are a prototype of sorts. They are a cheap or easy to make physical representation of the final part that you'd like to create. I decided to use wood since it's available and easy enough to manipulate. I was having some issues getting the exact dimensions I needed with the Japanese saw, so I went with a more traditional method. Sanding gets the model to its final dimensions and smoothness. Here I'm just rounding the corners of each side to make sure that it feels nice and it's not too sharp. Applying wax prevents the silicone from penetrating the wood and messing up the model. I let it dry before wiping off the excess. Next, we need a box to hold the silicone and model for the pour. Cardboard is super easy to use and cheap, especially if you're buying it from Amazon already. Here, I'm getting a rough layout of what the box needs to be. What you're looking for here is to get an idea of how big of a box you need. This is so you can make the bottom and the walls the right size for each of your models. Using pencil and the model as a reference, I get some rough dimensions together so I can make some cut lines for it. And of course, don't cut directly on a table that you like. With hot glue, it's easy to put the whole thing together in just a few minutes. Adding hot glue to all of the seams just makes sure that none of the silicone is going to leak out. The worst thing that could happen is you walk away and silicone is all over your floor, cured when you're ready to come back. Before you start mixing the silicone, you want to figure out how much silicone do you actually need. For my case, it's simply just one box minus another box. So it's going to be length, width, and height of the first box, which is the mold box, minus my model size, length, width, height. Okay, and I'm gonna see how many ounces these guys are, because these would make good intermediate containers. So these guys do hold enough, more than 5 ounces, which is what I'm looking for. I set up a little mark on this guy to be able to gauge it. So I'll fill this one up with A, I'll fill this one up with B, and then we'll mix both of these together in here, and then pour that into here. First, I gotta seal this down to the base before I start mixing them. Here's the silicone we're using. It's what was recommended from another video that we saw a little while ago with people making concrete. So we think this is going to work pretty well. Oh, there you go, pot life. So I got 30 minutes on the clock. You do want to make sure you're conservative with your estimates, since some of the silicone will stay inside the container you mix it in. The silicone I'm using is a 1-to-1 mix ratio by volume, meaning add equal volume of A and B. Placing them into separate cups makes the process a little bit easier. Alright, let's just go for it. That's cool. So when you're mixing, you want to mix up and down, scrape the sides and the bottom to make sure you're getting a nice homogeneous mixture. So you also want to make sure you're not going too fast so you don't whip air into the silicone. Alright, and for the pour, we want to get a high point on it. Pick a point at the bottom, at the base of the actual mold, and pour in that same location, and then pour from a high point. All right, and that's it. So we'll check back in over, cure time is 6 hours. All right, we're going to sleep. So it's almost an entire day later. We have, the silicone had enough time to cure. It's solid, scraped it off the side of the containers. And now we're just gonna remove the sides and demold it and see what happens.
Okay, let's see what it looks like.
So, it's pretty nice.
That's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that. Smooth that is.
Smooth.
Yeah, baby.
The model was glued to the base properly too, so let's see what it looks like.
Okay.
Start the demolding process. Looks great.
Don't tear it.
It's actually really flexible, but yes, also don't tear.
It's really flexible.
It cuts. And all I'm doing here is pushing from the bottom and widening the mouth, the top of it, to get everything out.
Remind me, did you use some sort of a release?
I didn't on this.
Okay.
So what I did use was wax in order to make sure that the silicone didn't mess up the mold too much. It looks like that's the case. It looks pretty good. It got the details of the actual wood inside there.
Oh yeah, you can see it.
Yeah. It looks cool. It's not quite the texture we're looking for, but I think it'll come out fine in the concrete.
It'll be fine because we're gonna buff out the concrete anyway.
Yeah, I gotta sand it out, especially the square one. But we have a mold.
That's exciting.
So I'm just gonna start here. Here we're just trimming the flashing to make it look cleaner as well as allow for an open top and a full box. So that's it. It actually captured all the lines and the grains inside the silicone too. So it's
Found a box.
Oh, there she is.
Did you find a box? She wants to go in the box. Now you're gonna hide? Nope, now you're gone. Can't hide from the camera. The camera loves you, Evie. Oh, golf clubs.
Rubbing all on them golf.
She's got to. She's got to claim her stuff.
So there you go. That is a silicone mold. All right. Now, as a proof of concept, I'd like to mold a little bit of concrete into this guy and see how it turns out. If you're interested in details about this process, check out my last video. So here's what we got. You can see it's pretty easy to remove here. I'm curious how these grain lines from the wood translated into the actual concrete. That was super easy. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. Somebody thought, oh wow. Okay. Oh wow. That's a lot more detail than I expected. Actually captured a lot of the detail of the actual wood grain, which I think is amazing here. It did cause a lot more air bubbles on it than expected. So this one's fresh out of the mold, so the color is a little bit different. So it should look about the same color as this one when it's done. But you can see they're roughly the same height. I'd say they're about the same weight, and it's pretty good actually. I'm pretty stoked about this guy. This project was super fun to make, and with these two molds done and ready to go, we're one step closer to the final product. To check out the first video in the series, go ahead and click the card above. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get all the updates on our fitness, family, and finance center goals. Did you love the video? I loved making it. Go ahead and hit the like button as well. Thank you so much for watching and enjoying. Bye. Why you want to do it a second time? It was perfect.